Welcome, Sagittarius. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, getting ready to do your new moon reading in Leo. The new moon's on the 24th of this month, just a couple of days away. And the main feature of this new moon is its opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. So the new moon being the sun and the moon in Leo, in opposition to Pluto, which has just moved into Aquarius. Also trining Neptune in Aries along with Saturn. So this is really a beautiful energy that is asking us to reclaim our authentic power, to simplify our lives, to surrender to what we know about who we are, and to trust that. And we trust that by not exerting control or trying to control every aspect of our effort, of our forward movement. This is about surrendering to what you know about who you are, surrendering to trust in yourself and in the universe. It's beautiful energy. And your overall card for this reading is the Four of Staffs, a card of achievement, of accomplishment, of building a foundation that is going to allow you to grow and expand endlessly. This can be a celebration. It is often described as a possible marriage. I see it more as a cultural and even emotional foundation for you and a community. That community may be a team, it may be a partnership, but you establish the things that you are deeply connected to, between and amongst you, and you understand that you have all that you need to work towards a higher goal that serves you, your partners or team members, collaborators, and the world at large. On the bottom of the deck, the Lord of Staffs. This is about your confidence, allowing your passion to shine through with confidence, but keeping an eye on your goals, not allowing yourself to be distracted or to quibble about an analysis of your goals or dreams. Sagittarians can be very philosophical and ponder, deliberate endlessly, enjoying the philosophical debate and discussion. This is really about reclaiming who you are and what your power is. Keeping it simple, affirming your goals, and moving directly towards that with an openness of perspective. I'm going to pull a crystal oracle, and the amber is what comes out, and I believe the key word of amber is ancestors. Yes, my ancestors are guiding and loving me now and always. I'm open to receive their support and wisdom. This feels very clear. In fact, I can feel ancestor energies around Sagittarians or any of you who are tuning into this reading. The availability of a team, not just an individual. For some of you, it may be an individual, but for many of you, I feel that you are developing relationships with your ancestors in sufficient degree that you are recognizing a team, a council of which you are a part. This is a general reading, Sagittarius. It's not going to resonate for all of you. If you're interested in a reading, check out the information in the description box below. If you find that this reading resonates for you, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. I appreciate whatever you do to support me in whatever way you do that. So thank you in advance. In the 10th house, the house of your social identity, the way others see you, the Ace of Swords, you are a sword of truth. You are a beacon of enlightenment. This perhaps can be your own spiritual journey being a beacon to others, perhaps your search for the truth, your search for justice, not only for in the world, but specifically in your life. You see your life as the microcosm of the macrocosm. And so you understand that your personal search for truth is about finding justice in the world for others as well. There is a tremendous amount of openness that you are experiencing now to perhaps they're new ideas, but they are old ideas in new clothes. I do feel that those Sagittarians I'm speaking to are very adept and versed in philosophical, metaphysical, spiritual principles. This is something you have studied in the past, if not in this lifetime, then in other lifetimes, and that you're learning to apply what you once learned theoretically to your life on the daily. You're able, from the perspective of time, to look back over many experiences and understand how spirit was working through you to get you to where you are now. In the first house, the Servant of Cups. So although I do believe you are very even accomplished in terms of your knowledge of historical, cultural, spiritual information, the context of who you are, wherever you are in the world, applying that to your own ancestral journey has required an opening of your heart. And in many ways, I feel that this opening of the heart has a lot to do with this sense of accepting yourself for who you are. No longer comparing yourself to others, feeling guilty or embarrassed by what you have or haven't accomplished. That is coming through very clearly, that because of your many talents, the expectations of many people have been pinned upon you, and you have been judged accordingly throughout your life. There's almost a weight of judgment I'm feeling on individuals, some of you, at this particular time. And this has made it difficult for you to release that. And for some of you, stop running away from that, so that you are in a position to accept yourself joyfully, to honor and uplift your creative and imaginative capacity, which is one of your great strengths. You have the ability to be in sync along with other mutable signs, particularly Pisces, with other beings. You are able to see the connection. You must have meaning in your life. And this is what opens you up to this brilliant imagination that recognizes and accepts a plethora of energies, perspectives, and meanings into your life. But your heart is very full right now, despite whatever obstacles you may be facing, whatever truth you may be coming to terms with. In the fourth house, the house of your foundation, your soul, your home, the Nine of Swords, yes, there's this heaviness that I feel has dogged your heels for much of your experience, that has always ended. I'm having a story here of things always ending, at least from your perspective, in some kind of rejection, in some kind of feeling discarded, dismissed, or thrown away, being used, feeling exploited until an aim was achieved, and then you became irrelevant or even an embarrassment because of your faith and belief in what you were doing. Your sometimes almost naive faith that what you were doing was what was being shared and stated among the group, the organization, the project, whatever it was you were working towards. You've experienced that kind of suffering over and over and over again and been judged by it. And really releasing that has been a focus of your work for a long, long time. In fact, before Pluto went into Capricorn, the cycle we are just have been released from as of last year, Pluto was in Sagittarius before that. So think, for some of you, this is not relevant if you're younger than 30, but for those of you that are beyond the age of 30 or more, you have experienced Pluto's deep dive, deep excavation of your patterns, behaviors, your discomfort, your trauma for up to 30 years. And that I feel that that is represented in this card, that you have not been able to catch a break from coming from a place of promise. You have routinely encountered blocks, loss, betrayal. In the 7th house, the house of your significant others, the Wheel of Fortune, I do feel like the opposite of this long sojourn in the underworld. That's what I'm calling the double Pluto experience through Sagittarius and Capricorn is finally turning around. That is what's opening you up to the sense of truth, accomplishment, self-acceptance, joy in who you are, joy in your many abilities. What a far cry from this sense of suffering, exclusion, rejection that you have experienced for so long. A part of the difficulty in having weathered the subconscious journey that has in fact connected you with the collective is that you had a difficult time accessing your joy, had a difficult time accessing your authenticity, because the authenticity, and I believe it was real, the innocent adventure charging off to the new world was exploited, not seen. It was seen as foolish by others, but it was exploited. And now I feel that you've come into the sense of your own knowledge and power, and you are no longer leaning on the approval, the favor, the invitation of others to move in the direction that you know is right for you, to move forward in your truth, to speak your truth. It's no longer a source of invitation or choice. You just do it, and you do it with love and with deep compassion and understanding regarding whatever implications it can have for others, for some sense of justice in the world. In fact, I feel that you're needing to speak out more, to talk more, to publish more, to present your ideas more. And the spoken word is absolutely a tool for you. So it feels like many of you have been in the weeds of research, perhaps poking or stabbing at ways that you can document or record your experience. But there feels to me now to be some particular vehicle that is allowing you to share your experience, your story, express yourself, your opinions, your thoughts in some way that is available to the public, to the world. I'm going to clarify the Servant of Cups in the 1st house with the World card in the 2nd house and the 4 of Swords in the 3rd house. In fact, this card came out sort of upside down. I don't usually read upside down, but I am in many ways considering both aspects for this reading. So the world is you, yes, closing out an old pattern, an old story of suffering, betrayal, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, that kind of feeling. Why don't people like me? I'm so nice, I'm so good, I'm so generous. Letting go of that story, just releasing it, realizing it's just a story. It's part of your perhaps even avoidance of your real power by constantly giving it away to others and having yourself denied. Perhaps that's a way that you feared stepping into your power. You feared setting up something that was in community, something that honored partnerships and the ability to collaborate creatively. This is, in some ways, your forte. The Four of Swords here is describing the way that you have really worked and learned from this really painful cycle of suffering, where you have had to look at the pain, stare the pain in the past, in the face, and really account for where those feelings, what triggers those feelings of desperation, anxiety, hopelessness, fear of being successful, fear of loss and hurt, and what you have experienced in spades in the past. So, in many ways, you are coming to understand that those experiences are gifts, that you would not be where you are without them, as long as you keep learning. As long as you understand every challenge is an opportunity for growth, then this becomes your cultural foundation, your spiritual foundation, even this gratitude for the very life that seemed to hand you one rotten deal after another. You're now in a place of realizing what incredible experience I have been privy to. Very few people have this kind of peripatetic range of experiences, albeit many of them ended up even comically, as you can now retell it, falling flat. But you are a wealth of stories. You are a wealth of experiences. There are very few things you haven't given a go at. And this is a beautiful quality that is fueling your ability to speak publicly to others, to share what you've learned globally. There's always an element of the teacher when it comes to Sagittarius. You are the sage in many ways. The Nine of Swords in the fourth house is clarified by the Nine of Swords again in the fifth house and the King of Swords in the sixth house. I actually see this as incredibly empowering. Remember, the nadir, the lowest point in the chart, represented by the fourth point, is us at our root foundational bottom. It almost makes me feel as though your ancestors are assisting you at this time, and they've assisted you in the past through other global catastrophes, cultural or historical catastrophes or losses. You have powered through times of great loss, suffering, pain, even. And what's coming up for me is the story of Chiron, the wounded healer, who is born not only a halfling, horse and man, but he is, well, not a man as he's born, but human and horse, but his mother rejects him. So he is motherless as a result of something he has no power over, and is fortunately adopted by the brother and sister Apollo and Diana. I'm not sure if I'm mixing Greek and Roman names up, but these were two gods who were the supreme educators of art, culture, music, knowledge, information, and he became a great healer. So there's something here about your experiences that translates through perhaps many lifetimes, perhaps through many cultures, where you have come to understand that these were part of your shaman journey, to be able to recognize and extract the medicine that is necessary to heal and be grateful for our lives, for our opportunities to be productive, to show up in ways that we can open ourselves and others, teach, facilitate new ideas, new information at a time that could be called a kind of information age. Technology is available to all in a way that can amplify your voice, your thoughts, your capacity to share what you know. I also see some instrumental mentor for you. This can be a supervisor, a boss. This can even be a friend who is very skilled at some aspect of publishing, writing, speaking, presenting in the world, so that you are gaining some important resource. This can even be something as mundane as getting a new computer or finding a new consultant who can ally with you towards producing something that represents a record, a document, or a narrative of your experience. The Wheel of Fortune in the 7th house is clarified by the 6 of Cups in the 8th house and the Devil in the 9th house. Yeah, here we come back to an experience of the past. It may not be a person from the past. It can well be a new person who stands in for a former relationship or soul bond. It's a very significant soul bond. And the soul bond has had, like you, mirrored your uncomfortable behaviors, perhaps your childhood traumas, a sense of being rejected, not trusting self, and therefore not trusting others. You both may be, or perhaps in the past, were very shut down, having a difficult time saying what you wanted, claiming what you wanted, being open about your feelings. I do get a sense here that the truth came out over distance. Perhaps you had a correspondence or you lived far apart, and that provided a kind of safety, a shield, where you could express yourself comfortably via some kind of correspondence or documentation, letters, maybe phone calls, although this doesn't feel like that. However, that actually aided in your masking over of feelings that you were afraid would be violated, and which ultimately were, in part because you both were mirroring the same toxic behavior, hiding oneself, moving forward according to something traditional that you believed one expected from the other. And there is the sense that perhaps that partner did very well in some conventional way. And you perhaps feel that you were left behind in that relationship. You certainly feel abandoned, repeatedly abandoned, over and over again. It seems like your love life, which feels related to your creative life or your creative practice, is a repeating story of disappointment and heartache. And yet you thoroughly believed in this person for perhaps all the wrong reasons. This person may be coming back into your life. perhaps someone new is coming into your life that reminds you of or is a reflection of this experience. This time it feels as though you're able to break the spell by speaking your truth without regard, with compassion, absolutely, with sensitivity, with honor about whatever feelings, and they were very authentic, certainly on your part, and I believe they were shared. Speaking that and speaking about the damage done and your inability to speak to one another, to be honest with one another, doesn't necessarily mean that you're coming back together. In fact, it seems like this is part of a closure or a release that you're experiencing, one that is impacting on your sense of self, how you are allowing your body to express some real pain that was never communicated and never shared. The Ace of Swords in the 10th house is clarified by the Seven of Cups in the 11th house and the Two of Pentacles in the 12th house. So there are so many opportunities for an open heart. I don't feel that you are realistically looking towards this former partnership or dynamic that is reminiscent of something that you experienced in the past, of the long ago past. In fact, it seems to me it took you a very long time to get over this hurt, to get over this relationship not working out. And it affected your creative gifts, your ability to work together with peers, which makes me think that your relationship was somehow connected to work that you do or a skill that you have. But it took you a long, long time to get over that, to put things into perspective, to recognize the gifts of those experiences, and perhaps what this person represented for you, something that you wanted to believe in, that was more traditional, that you felt was your reward for moving along successfully on a path of growth as you understood it. Now, seeing the truth of that, seeing your own, not deficiency, your own error in holding back from expressing yourself, not giving love, but not speaking your love in a way that perhaps would satisfy you, not them, but you. I don't see you as one who is held back from that relationship. I see you as being expectant, really believing that you and this person could create something that suited you, something that was unique, not something that was traditional. And perhaps that person felt an obligation to respond in some traditional way to you. However, now that you see open opportunities, possibilities, perhaps with this person, more likely in the larger world, you're looking at larger communities and associations you can connect with, finding your tribe in a way that is not isolated to this individual, perhaps, or any individual. But you are using this experience to come to terms with the justice that I feel you are now experiencing. And that justice may be the opportunity to close this chapter of your life, a chapter that took you so very long to heal from, that hurt you so deeply, and that you now realize is a part of a life that no longer reflects your authentic power, who you truly are. You've changed phenomenally, and you're opened up to the reality of your life now, not to a fantasy of that. I'm going to finish up this reading, Sagittarius, with a seed and sickle, and truly hope that this reading has been insightful for you. I have pulled the bracken number 3, and 3, I might add, is the number of the Empress. You are the beloved at some level, which suggests that you were loved in the way that you felt you loved, and that love was shared. But you were put on a pedestal in some way, and that might have been part of the problem. This person was intimidated by you and couldn't approach you. Bracken reads, a popular ingredient in many magical rituals is fern seed, a mystical golden seed that appears when ferns magically flower at midnight on the summer solstice. The actual existence of fern seeds has never been proven, nor have ferns ever been seen to flower, but the magical reputation of the seed remains, as does the fern's mysterious secret. Take your cue from those who would wait an entire year for the seed's brief appearance. Exercising patience will benefit you most here. That one ingredient you need to succeed in your goal may not come immediately, but rushing after it will not get you anywhere. Beautiful. If you've enjoyed this content, there's more content here to check out. And until next time, Sagittarius, namaste.